What's happening, everybody? Happy Thursday. Happy September. Happy football. We made it. The 2025 NFL season is just a couple hours away. I am taking you right up to kickoff with whatever you need from a fantasy perspective. Pat yourself on the back. We did it. We got through the doldrums of the offseason. We got through the spring. We got through the summer. We survived the gauntlet. The 2025 season is upon us. The Philadelphia Eagles, my Philadelphia Eagles, will be hanging a banner tonight against the rival Dallas Cowboys to kick off 2025. I could not be more excited. I'm sure you're in the same boat. Let's get it going. Couple housekeeping items as we kick things off today. First things first. Special shout out to all of my members. If you are interested in becoming a member of the channel, it will fast track things like getting your questions answered or comments responded to in priority order. You can find more details about becoming a member of the channel in the first link in the description of this live stream and all videos and streams on the channel. You can also send a super if you want to get your messages responded to in priority order. That will allow you to jump the line. Maybe you're in a rush. Maybe there's a lot of people in here and you're just looking to get your question answered as fast as possible. You are making sure that I don't miss it. That's the best way to do so if you are feeling so inclined. You do not have to become a member to get questions answered. You do not have to send a super to get questions answered. However, you will be at the back of the line as the proverbial hyperbole, whatever you want to call it, back of the line to get questions answered. I will get to everybody, but members and supers will have their comments and questions responded to. Regardless of what you choose to do, whether you are here for a couple of minutes or for the full 2 hours or somewhere in between, regardless of whether you're a member or not, I only ask that you like the stream. If you are enjoying the conversation and the dialogue, that helps me for algorithm purposes. And then one final housekeeping item. This is a new thing as of today. Setting a couple of different goals just to have some fun. If everybody is interested, I have a goal set up in the chat. I think you can see it. Basically 10 super chats that are at least $2. If I get 10 of those over the next 2 hours, I don't currently have a live stream scheduled for the Friday game, tomorrow's game in Brazil ahead of Chiefs Chargers. But if I can get 10 over the next 2 hours, you got me for another hour tomorrow. Maybe even longer than that. I will go live ahead of Chiefs Chargers in the event that if I reach the goal by the end of this stream. If you're interested, just wanted to throw that out there. Let's get into it. I will respond to my members first. Again, perk of being a member of the channel. I will then go through news and notes from around the league. We've got Wednesday and Thursday practice reports, so it is perfectly fine to ask me start sit questions. We now have 2 days worth of information as far as practice and how that might mold our decisions for start sit help. So I can start taking a look at that. I do encourage you, though, regardless, to come back for Saturday, Sunday live streams for specific start sit help. Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, leading up to kickoff, answering start sit questions right up until the final minute, or until all questions get answered, whatever happens first. All right, let's kick this thing off. Again, first to the members. I see your questions. I see everybody's questions. I promise I will get to all of them, but members go first. What's going on, Sport Dog? I also see Greg in here. Again, member shout outs, another perk. You know that I've seen you if you are a member of the channel. So you've got Kamara in one flex, but you're figuring out your second flex in full PPR. So obviously you've got a lot of good options here. I would rule out Khalil Shakir immediately. He's missed a lot of time in camp with the high ankle sprain. He's had time to recover and heal because it happened early in August, so he's been on ice for about a month, but that's just the problem. Is he rusty in the first game, having not practiced for a month, coming off of a high ankle sprain, which can resurface during the season? The high ankle sprain is the type of injury with, unfortunately, a high injury reoccurrence, a high re-injury rate. So I'm putting Shakir on ice if I can. In this situation, you can. Shaheed, I'm also putting on ice for a little while. I love Rashid Shaheed. He's a wide receiver 4 or 5 until further notice. The Saints quarterback situation is simply not good. It's between Pickens, J-Mo, and Jaylen Warren. I like the Pickens matchup for tonight personally. If there's one thing, there might be a couple things on defense that the Eagles are currently working through, navigating through. They lost a lot of personnel on defense in the offseason. Cornerback 2 is currently a bit of a question mark for Philadelphia. They let Darius Slay walk. I don't think they traded him. I think they just let him walk. And now it's like Adoree Jackson is going to start. They've got some other guys, like some young guys, Keely Ringo, who... they haven't inspired a whole heck of a lot. This is an exploitable matchup for George Pickens, while Quinyon Mitchell, in all likelihood, shadows CeeDee Lamb. And by the way, you're not taking CeeDee Lamb out of your lineup, even though that's a tougher matchup. I would say it's between Pickens and J-Mo. I like Jaylen Warren. However, it's not a great matchup against the Jets. Although I do think that this is a good week for Jaylen Warren, as Caleb Johnson kind of maybe comes along slowly, is brought along slowly by Pittsburgh. So I don't mind Jaylen Warren this week, but it's not a great matchup. It's between J-Mo and Pickens. They are both upside plays. J-Mo, obviously, a big play waiting to happen. Pickens, I think, has a higher ADP this year. So I guess my default for week 1 is to just go with the guy that you drafted first. If you drafted J-Mo first, maybe just go J-Mo. But if you drafted Pickens first, again, I believe his ADP is higher in most platforms, formats, all that good stuff. And I do think he has a good chance to make a big play tonight against, a couple of question marks in the Eagles secondary. Specifically, that outside cornerback 2 spot is currently a question mark for Philadelphia. I would probably lean Pickens. Especially if he's the guy that you drafted first of this group. Yeah, Pickens would be my answer. Unless you tell me that you drafted J-Mo first, then maybe just by default go with the guy that you drafted higher. Because in theory, that's the dude that you are planning to rely on a little bit more. Might as well not overthink it week 1. Start the guy that you drafted first. I would think it's Pickens from this group. And Greg, I can give you some thoughts on what happened or how your draft went down. Again, if you are in here and you're not a member, I see you. I see your questions. I will get to you. But one of the perks of being a member of the channel is getting your questions answered in priority order. McCaffrey, Goff's your quarterback. I'm not crazy about that, admittedly, but I like McCaffrey a lot. Aaron Jones, Nico's good. Garrett Wilson is maybe going to be hard to trust this year, but 160 targets are 160 targets. McBride should be a stud. I like Debo to bounce back this year at a reduced cost. And then some decent depth in Dobbins, Pearsall, Keenan Allen, etc. Okay. And you took Goff over Dak and May. Yeah, I would not have taken Goff. Goff doesn't excite me. One, because there's question marks for the Detroit offense with the departure of Ben Johnson and the retirement of Frank Ragnow, their starting center. I have no issues with Jahmyr Gibbs. I have no issues with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have no issues with David Montgomery and Sam Laporta and Jameson Williams. In theory, Goff should be perfectly fine if we like all of these weapons. However, he is a 0 as a runner. With the transition to a new offensive coordinator and the fact that he gives you nothing on the ground, I don't really like Goff this year. I don't know what's on the waiver wire for you. I don't know if Jordan. Oh, you have Jordan Love, so I would start Jordan Love in all likelihood this week. He's at home. This is a good matchup for him. even though Jaden Reed is dealing with an injury. He still has Josh Jacobs. Matthew Golden appears to be set to become the Packers wide receiver 1 this year. Romeo Doubs is a good receiver. Tucker Kraft is a good tight end. And Love can run. He's not one of the premier elite rushing quarterbacks, but he can run. And at home, I feel good. I feel good about Love more than Goff on the other side on the road. So I would probably put Love in your starting lineup this week. And you know, we'll reevaluate on a case-by-case basis. I would also be very hesitant to play the Ravens defense this week because they're going up against the Bills. They're going up against Josh Allen in Buffalo. In fact, I'd rather, the Bills and the Ravens are probably two very popular, trendy defenses to take. I don't want to play either one of them week 1, though, because of the offenses that they have to go up against. I don't want to play the Ravens defense against Josh Allen, and I don't want to play the Bills defense against Lamar Jackson. My advice would be to stream your defense this week. And I wouldn't feel bad about taking Christian McCaffrey at 10. It's a home run swing. And what are we doing in fantasy football? We're swinging for the fences. We're not trying to hit singles. We're trying to hit home runs. We're trying to hit it out of the park on every pick, especially your top picks. Swing for the fences, shoot for the moon. That's that is what Christian McCaffrey represents. I wouldn't be feeling bad about drafting Christian McCaffrey. The upside is he's RB1 overall, and he's healthy this year. This time for real. So I think you're fine. I don't think you have anything to worry about there as far as McCaffrey goes, Greg. You're okay. But I would say pivot off of Goff, play Jordan Love, and I would seriously consider, I get if you don't want to drop the Ravens defense outright, but I don't want to play them against Josh Allen the first week of the season. And likewise, if you have the Bills defense, a little bonus for anybody who happens to have the Bills defense but didn't ask about this, I wouldn't want to play them either against Lamar Jackson. I know they're at home, but Lamar, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, I'd rather not. I'd rather not deal with that. Say Flowers. I'd rather not play either defense in that game. Rather not play any defense in that game. Okay, let me quickly go through the most up-to-date information we have as far as practice reports, injury reports, and all that good stuff. And then I will kick it to additional questions. Let's see. First of all, let's quickly go over, because Underdog tweeted this out earlier this morning, in case anybody missed it. Let's quickly go over the 2025 rule changes that are going into effect starting this year. Touchbacks are moved to the 35-yard line. I believe last year they moved up to the 25 or the 30? Touchbacks are now moved up to the 35-yard line, so even more points are going to be scored this year. Replay officials can overturn a longer list of penalties. Teams can declare onside kicks at any point. I guess that's not just limited to the fourth quarter. Guaranteed possession in overtime unless the 10-minute clock runs out. So if some team happens to possess the ball for all 10 minutes, then you're not necessarily guaranteed possession. That seems highly unlikely. And then, of course, the big exciting one, I would hope that it's exciting for a lot of people, is there will be virtual measurements for first downs this year. We are not leaving it up to just the chain gang. We will finally get, soccer calls it VAR. We see these electronic measurements in things like tennis and golf all the time. Football is implementing it as well. Finally, we will get a specific measurement using computers, using technology that we've had available to us for years. The NFL finally catching up to that, thank God. So those are the rule changes. That one, I would say, being the biggest one. We are now not just reliant on the chain gang for gaining first downs. So that is fun. Jets guard Elijah Vera Tucker will be placed on injured reserve after tearing his triceps. I think that happened yesterday. Brutal blow for the Jets offensive line and the Jets offense in general that already comes in with its questions. Breece Hall already felt kind of like an icky pick in drafts. We don't know what to do with him. He was drafted as the RB3 or 4 last year, and he netted out as the RB17. Now the team is gassing up Braylon Allen, and then now on top of that, we're down a starter for the entire season along the offensive line. Not great for the Jets' offense. Let's see. What else do we have here? The Commanders are claiming that they will use all 4 of the running backs on their roster all throughout the year this year. We'll see how much truth there actually is to that. Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt is the upside play, swing for the fences. There's no way I would play him this week. We need to see what the backfield breakdown looks like. But you probably drafted him somewhat decently high. Hopefully you're not relying on him as more than like an RB4. I would not play a Washington back. I mean, I would maybe take a shot on Austin Eckler in full PPR leagues, but I would not feel a ton of confidence playing a Washington running back this week until we at least get some semblance of what roles may look like. And even then, after week 1, it might not be guaranteed. Like, whatever the results are might not necessarily trickle into following weeks. Let's see. Hollywood Brown not on the injury report for Friday. He's worth a dart throw in deeper leagues with Rashee Rice set to miss the first 6 games of the season. Jaden Reed is limited in practice on Thursday. He will be dealing with a Jones fracture for the entirety, in all likelihood, of the 2025 season. I do not want to touch Jaden Reed with a 10-foot pole. Matthew Golden feels poised to take over as Packers wide receiver 1. Jaden Reed is talented, make no mistake. A Jones fracture is incredibly painful and a very difficult injury to play through on a week-to-week basis. It sounds like Jaden Reed's going to try to play through it, put off surgery until the offseason. That's an awful lot of pain management for a wide receiver who is, cutting on almost every play, at least on every passing play, having to, plant and cut. That's a tough thing to work through on a week-to-week basis. I liked Jaden Reed at cost initially earlier in the offseason. Now I want nothing to do with him because of this Jones fracture. I hope he's able to work through it and have a productive year. Easier said than done. Khalil Shakir, I mentioned it with Sport Dog. He fully practiced today on Thursday. I still would prefer not to play Khalil Shakir week 1, having missed almost the entirety of camp with a high ankle sprain. Maybe give that a week or 2 to see how things pan out, shake out, maybe over the first couple of weeks. Kyle Monangai is a limited practice in Thursday, while Roschon Johnson did not practice today. So behind DeAndre Swift in the Bears backfield, we could be looking at Kyle Monangai. Now, it is the first day of practice for the Bears because they play the Monday Night Football game against the Minnesota Vikings. So this is a Wednesday practice. When you get a DNP, did not practice on the first day of practice, the first week of practice, that's not a death sentence for your availability, but obviously it's starting the week on the wrong foot. Hopefully Roschon's okay for his sake, but if he can't go and Monangai is the backup to DeAndre Swift, that makes for a very interesting maybe DFS play. Very interesting potential dart throw, moving forward for the early portion of the season if Roschon is injured more than for a couple of weeks. Darnell Mooney is a game time decision for week 1. He is not on the radar to start after missing so much time during the offseason. Darren Waller is not practicing for the Dolphins for the second straight day. There's no way we can fire him up. He's just coming out of retirement. Let's circle back on Darren Waller after maybe week 2 or 3. Isaiah Likely not practicing Thursday. He is in all likelihood, no pun intended, missing week 1 against the Buffalo Bills as he recovers from a broken foot that he suffered earlier this offseason. Likely should be back within the next few weeks, and then maybe he needs a little bit of time to get his feet wet, get his sea legs under him. We're probably not starting Isaiah Likely or even considering starting Isaiah Likely until maybe week 4 or 5. Just a gut feeling right now, Thursday, week 1. Cade Otton fully practiced on Thursday. That's a good sign. He was looking like he might miss a little bit of time to start the season, but so now it looks like he's maybe shaping up to play week 1, and they need him. Chris Godwin's not ready to play yet. Jalen McMillan's going to miss half the season. They need pass catching help the Bucs do behind Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka. So Cade Otton practicing is a good sign for his availability. We're not firing him up outside of the deepest leagues, but if you do have Baker Mayfield as your starting quarterback, you feel a little bit better with him getting an extra weapon back, presumably in their opening game against Atlanta. Justin Jefferson has been dealing with a hamstring injury for much of the offseason, but he is not listed on the injury report for Monday. That is an excellent sign. He returned to practice a couple weeks ago, but for the most of the beginning of August, he was sidelined with the hamstring injury. We didn't move him down the board too much. You were still probably drafting him 6th, 7th, maybe 5th overall, expecting him to be a dominant wide receiver 1 like he always is. However, soft tissue injuries are always a concern. You maybe knock him down to like that 7, 8, 9 spot in the first round just out of a precaution. However, not being on the injury report is an excellent sign for his early season availability. Hopefully it stays that way. Soft tissue injuries are always ones that we worry about that could linger throughout the season. Hopefully it's nothing just other than just a minor thing. Knock on wood. I am knocking on wood at present for Justin Jefferson and a clean bill of health all season long. Not on the injury report for Monday. That's a great sign. You can confidently fire him up if he was your first round pick. Without any issues. Jalen Naylor fully practiced on Thursday. He was going to be the Vikings wide receiver 3, but then the team traded for Adam Thielen, so he's not on the radar as a streamer just yet. And the 49ers added $3 million in incentives to Juwan Jennings' contract to hopefully appease him and his contract demands over the course of the offseason. I did put out a video maybe a month ago or so. Juwan Jennings has been a fade for me in fantasy. A lot of what he did last year was on the back of 3 incredible, excellent boom games, and then a bunch of other middling performances in between. Now Christian McCaffrey is fully healthy. George Kittle is fully healthy. Ricky Pearsall is fully healthy. Jennings was a fade for me. The contract negotiation and the calf injury that he was presumably nursing throughout the offseason, both detriments for me, both enough to keep me wanting to move away from Juwan Jennings. I don't think I have any shares of him anywhere. I'd rather not play that game. All right. I think those are all of the updates. For news and notes, injury reports for this Thursday. Okay. Let's see. I took Sport Dog's first question. I took a couple other questions from Greg. I see one more question from Sport Dog. Again, one more time, I see your questions. I promise I will get to them. One of the perks of being a member of the channel is getting your questions answered out of order and getting priority responses if you are interested. First link in the description of this live stream. And just for fun, I did put a goal together that is at the top of the chat if you are interested. If we hit that goal before I sign off here before kickoff, I will go live tomorrow ahead of Chargers Chiefs. Was not originally planned, but you can get some time with me ahead of the YouTube game. Remember, that game is free on YouTube tomorrow. It is not on any network TV outside of, I think, the Kansas City and Los Angeles areas. DMAs. If you do not live in those areas, you will need YouTube TV to watch it, but it is for free. All right, let me get this. Let me get one more member question, and then I will go back up to the top of the chat and get any other questions that I have received thus far. It's full PPR. So you're thinking about Jaylen Warren versus Austin Eckler. Eckler would be my favorite to get most of the opportunities tomorrow as a vet, as the team's veteran presence. Once upon a time, Austin Eckler was one of the best running backs in the league. He is not that anymore, being older. However, he is still a viable vet, a savvy vet, a guy that I would assume gets the most opportunities tomorrow for Washington out of the backfield. But that's just an assumption. And when I say tomorrow, I mean Sunday. I'm already thinking ahead to Sunday. With the Eagles got a game tonight. I'm already thinking ahead to Sunday. What's wrong with me? I would expect Austin Eckler to lead that backfield in opportunities. That's a guess, though. I don't know how much Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols, Bill Croskey-Merritt. I don't know how much those guys are going to mix in and stay involved. And then obviously Jaden Daniels is one of the greatest threats as a runner at the quarterback position that we have in this league. So it's a bit of a crapshoot. Jaylen Warren, on the other hand, doesn't feel like as much of a crapshoot. He should draw the start tomorrow. He just got the contract extension with Pittsburgh. They clearly like him. They clearly want him to have a role this year and next. Caleb Johnson is an intriguing, exciting young rookie who we may have to be kind of patient with, right? And in a bad matchup tomorrow against the Jets, at least on paper, I'd probably prefer to lean the veteran who I think has a clearer path and a clearer role. Eckler is dealing with competition from Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols, Bill Croskey-Merritt, and then again, Jaden Daniels will vulture rushing production as well. And, the Giants, for all of their issues over the past few years, their pass rush is looking like it's going to be a strength of the team this year. Now, that doesn't necessarily impact Austin Eckler, but it could cause more issues on a play-by-play basis for Washington on passing plays than, if they were any worse, if the Giants' pass rush was any less formidable. I would go with Jaylen Warren. I don't think there is as much competition in the Steelers' backfield for opportunities. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is not going to steal rushing production the way Jaden Daniels will. And Aaron Rodgers, in full PPR, Rodgers looks for the running back for dump-offs in the passing game. So, and Warren will play that role. He will catch the ball. I would probably go Warren. Over Eckler. We have to keep in mind for everybody, whether you've been here before or you're here for the first time, welcome back if you've been here before. Welcome in, and thanks for stopping in if you're here for the first time. I will give you the best that I can. You guys know that. I will give you the best analysis, and I will give you my thoughts as best I can. Week 1 is weird as hell, right? We all know this. You guys are smart guys and gals. We've been around the block. We've done this song and dance before. Week 1 is random as shit. It usually is random. And it's very difficult to pinpoint certain things and how they play out because there are no trends to go off of. So be prepared. Be prepared for that. Be prepared for it to be a little weird. Be prepared to see some strange outcomes, some strange stat lines. Just last year, week 1, Isaiah Likely had 2 touchdowns. Alec Pierce, I think, had the best game for a wide receiver on the slate last year. He had 2 catches for bombs for touchdowns. I think he had 120, 30 yards receiving that game in week 1. Weird stuff happens. It's difficult to project and predict for week 1 more than any other week. We just don't have trends yet. We don't have anything to go off of yet other than what happened last year. So I'm going to look for the path of least resistance this week for week 1. And in a situation where you got Jaylen Warren and Austin Eckler, I'll take Warren. Eckler's got McNichols. He's got Chris Rodriguez. He's got Bill Croskey-Merritt, and he's got Jaden Daniels. Jaylen Warren has Caleb Johnson, and that's it. Who even is the Steelers' RB3? It's not Cordero Patterson anymore. They cut him. And obviously Aaron Rodgers is not vulturing work. Oh, right, Kenneth Gainwell. Good old Kenny Gaines. Kenny Gainwell is a veteran. And again, I could absolutely see Kenny Gainwell getting consistent run ahead of Caleb Johnson this week. Not ahead of Jaylen Warren, but I could see Gainwell getting a run ahead of Caleb Johnson. Mike Tomlin is a vet coach. Feels like he could, he's one of those coaches where it's you got to earn it, rookie. You weren't a first-round pick. You got to earn it. That doesn't mean Caleb Johnson won't have a role sooner than later in this offense, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was kind of difficult to trust for week 1 and Gainwell maybe runs ahead of him. Maybe he won't, but if there was a week where I would bet that happens, it would be this one. So I'll take Jaylen Warren while there's a bit of a, hodgepodge situation behind him, at least for now. Batty, thanks for becoming a member of the channel. Much appreciated. Thank you for the support. You will now be getting priority responses to questions and comments, and I will be, I'll shout you out by username so you know that I'm referring to you when I am getting to your questions and comments. So thanks for joining a member. Much appreciated for the support. Let's have a hell of a season. All of us, the idea, the goal, of course, is let's bring home as many championships as we possibly can. And of course, I'm happy to help in the Discord when I am not live. If you are not in the Discord and you would like to join the Discord, that is an evergreen invite, a free invite. Second link in the description of this live stream and all videos and streams on the channel. Join the community. Let's make it grow a little bit more. E11 joining as a member, much appreciated. Thank you so much for the support, guys. I really appreciate that. Again, you will now be getting priority responses to questions and comments. And I see Crumply Heads, you're asking to become a member. I believe it is right underneath. Maybe it's not right underneath the chat. I think it is if you hit, if you click the link. If you click the link in the first link of the description, you could definitely sign up that way. I forget how that works, though. I should probably know how this works. It's my channel, after all. but I think you have to click the link in the description of the live stream. Until then, and then Batty and E111, if you guys have questions, I will be on the lookout. But let me knock out some of these questions from the rest of the conversation first, or from the top of the chat, and then I will get to any more member questions that pop up. DJ Moore or Tet McMillan in full PPR. I am going Tet McMillan. Give me the rookie. The Carolina Panthers get the Jacksonville Jaguars and their porous defense and their porous secondary from last year. So many vacated targets last year that are gone. If you recall, it feels like 10 years ago, but it wasn't. It was just last year when Deontay Johnson was the wide receiver 1 for the Carolina Panthers, and he went on a stretch from like weeks 2 through 6 or 7 where he was a dominant wide receiver 1 for fantasy. Now he's gone. Adam Thielen has been traded to the Minnesota Vikings. He is gone. Jalen Coker, a young wide receiver that they are very excited about, is on IR. He will not play for the first 4 games of the season. We are down to Tet McMillan, Xavier Legette, Jatavian Sanders, and, me and you at wide receiver for Carolina. There's not much left there. Tet is going to get 1 million targets, I would say, from the jump. Obviously, I'm being a little facetious when I say 1 million. I would say he's at least going to get 10. 6'4". I think he's like a 220-pound beast of a human being. Drafted 8th overall to Carolina. We trust Dave Canales as a play caller. We trust this coaching staff in general from an offensive perspective. And we saw Bryce Young in the last 8 or 9 games of the season last year make really good strides as a quarterback in general after what was an entirely lost and forgettable rookie campaign. Give me Tet McMillan. DJ Moore, I like DJ Moore. He's a good player. But we're expecting a breakout from Rome Odunze. They added Colston Loveland in the draft. They added Luther Burden in the draft. Cole Kmet is still there. There's a lot of different pieces that this Bears offense can go to, whereas I think it's a little bit more consolidated targets for the Panthers. And we saw strides from Bryce Young last year. We are waiting to see strides from Caleb Williams. He wasn't bad last year, but he wasn't great. Bryce looked a lot better last year in the last 8 games of the season compared to his first year and a half in the league. And now he has a clear wide receiver 1 to throw the football to. Give me Tet in a great matchup. Give me Tet in a great matchup. Crumply Heads, there you go, man. Appreciate all the memberships. Thank you guys so much for the support. Again, members for the duration of the season will get priority responses to questions and comments. I will jump out of order for them. It is a great way to get your questions answered. 99 cents a month on the practice squad. That will get you a membership and then priority responses to questions and comments. Appreciate you guys. Okay. Let's see. Everybody sit tight. Again, I will get to everyone, but but I need to answer the member questions first. Would I start Javonte over R.J. Harvey? No. I don't think I would. Harvey is a difficult guy to trust this week as a rookie in his first career NFL game, possibly taking a backseat to J.K. Dobbins. However, I much prefer Harvey at home against the Tennessee Titans in a game where the Broncos are favored by like 8.5, 9 points versus Javonte Williams, who is probably a broken player at this point. I hate to say it. I used to love Javonte Williams. That knee injury from a couple of years ago, I think, wrecked him. Now he's on a worse offense behind a worse offensive line in a game where game script dictates that they are going to have to throw the football, Dallas, because the Eagles are 7.5, 8-point favorites, depending on where you look. That is negative game script for Dallas, which means that is not a great prospect for their run game. They already have question marks as far as how good their offensive line is, and Javonte has not looked good for the past couple of years, even in good offenses behind good offensive lines. The Broncos had a good offensive line last year, and Javonte was average. Now he's behind a much worse offensive line in a game where his team they're 7.5-point dogs. Harvey, at the very least, should have positive game script in his favor with the Broncos 8.5, 9. They're almost double-digit favorites against the Tennessee Titans at home. Yes, Dobbins is most likely going to get most of the opportunities, but I would expect Harvey to sprinkle in, and we'll have a chance to make enough plays to deliver a decent floor for fantasy. I would probably swing with Harvey. I do not like this matchup for the Cowboys' run game tonight. I'll take RJ Harvey. I will take RJ Harvey. Okay, back to the top, because I know there are some folks that have been waiting for a little while. I appreciate your patience. Let's get after it. I cannot co-sign Go Cowboys because I am an Eagles fan, but let's have a fun game. Do you start Diggs or Pollard in your flex? I would go Diggs. I like Tony Pollard quite a bit. And actually, he should come through with some decent volume. If you feel comfortable with a floor play, I'm okay with Pollard. I like this matchup a lot for Diggs. He is Drake May's clear-cut wide receiver 1. There's nothing scary about the matchup. There's nothing scary about the matchup going into going at home against Vegas. So he should be able to, he should be peppered with, I would say, 10 targets. Pollard will have the backfield to himself at the very least for Tennessee, because Tajay Spears is on injured reserve with a high ankle sprain. So Pollard is going to get the yeoman's level of work. However, this is a terrible matchup. It is Cam Ward's first career game, and he's going up against a top 2 or 3 defense in the league in all likelihood against the Denver Broncos and the defensive player of the year in Patrick Surtain. This is a bad spot. Pollard could come through as a boring RB2 with some volume. But I think Diggs' matchup is a little bit better. The Patriots are at home against a beatable Raiders defense. And by all accounts, Diggs is ready to go. After, obviously dealing with the ACL injury last year. He's nearly a year removed from that. I don't recall it being a more serious injury. I don't think there was like MCL, LCL. That wasn't a factor. If it was for Stephon Diggs, then he wouldn't be playing week 1, but he is. So there might be some rust for him to shake off as well. But Diggs is the clear-cut best wide receiver that the Patriots have on their roster, even at age 31. I would likely go Diggs. Pollard could maybe give you a boring floor if you think you can get away with that, but it's a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup against Denver in Denver. Cam Ward's first career start. I don't know how confident I feel about that. He's going to need a lot of volume to come through, whereas Diggs is in a much more favorable matchup, and he's obviously, as a receiver with that half PPR boost, you feel a little bit better about him. I would probably go Diggs. I would probably go Diggs. Herbert or Kyler? I would go Kyler. Beautiful matchup against the New Orleans Saints. Kyler is frustrating. He's frustrating because he's talented, but I don't know. I don't know Kyler personally. Obviously, I don't want to attack a guy who was a first overall pick in the NFL, but like his work ethic has consistently come into question. He struggles to see the whole field. He's on the shorter side, and hasn't really taken advantage of that the way other shorter quarterbacks have in their careers. Drew Brees, Russell Wilson. Kyler hasn't ever taken that next step as a passer. He's capable, but he's frustrating. That being said, he is a guy with top 5 rushing upside at the position, and in this type of matchup against New Orleans, who is probably going to be the worst team in the league, if not bottom 3, I'll take Kyler over Herbert. And then I would play Kelsey over Andrews. Rashee Rice is suspended. Him and Kelsey, they share the intermediate side of the field, the intermediate part of the field. That's going to be fully wide open for Kelsey now. I'll take Kelsey over Andrews. Yes, Isaiah Likely won't be playing for Baltimore, so Andrews gets a boost as well in that regard. But the Ravens are more of a run-first offense than the Chiefs are. I'll take Kelsey over Andrews. Rashee Rice is a bigger loss, a more impactful loss for the Chiefs than Isaiah Likely is. No disrespect to Isaiah Likely for the Ravens. I think Kelsey is a direct benefactor. I'll take Kelsey slightly over Andrews for week 1. Let's see. Johnny and Nick, sit tight. I see your questions. I will get to them here shortly. But again, got another member question. That's the rule. I got to answer those first. You're not taking Drake London out of your lineup. If you wanted to put JMO in your lineup, then you got to take out Terry McLaurin, which I wouldn't be against. I wouldn't be opposed to that because Terry missed the entire offseason due to his contract negotiation. There could be a little bit of rust for Terry, whereas the vibes with JMO have been excellent all offseason. He's been putting in the work. The coach speak has been very positive when talking about Jameson Williams. It sounds like he's taking yet another step forward in becoming a complete receiver, running the full route tree. JMO himself said this offseason that he's getting the opportunity to run more routes than he has in previous years. He basically broke out last year. It's not insane to see him take yet another step forward. He's still just 24 years old. And in all likelihood, the Packers-Lions game is more likely to be a shootout than Commanders-Giants. So that would lend a little bit of credence to starting JMO. Terry obviously is the bona fide wide receiver 1 for Jaden Daniels. He should be fine. This matchup is not bad for Terry. The Giants have a good pass rush. They don't have a good secondary. So Terry should be okay. But if you are worried about him knocking the rust off, this would be the week to worry about that. If you want to put JMO in your lineup over Terry McLaurin, I'm fine with that. I have no problem putting JMO in your starting lineup over Terry. I have no problem with that. I have no issue with that. London is a clear cut. He's never out of your lineup. London might be a top 5 wide receiver this year on targets alone. So you're not taking him out of your lineup, Sport Dog. I would be totally fine if you want to put JMO in your lineup for McLaurin. I have no issues with that. I have no problem with that. What's going on, Fortune? Good to see you, man. Football is indeed back, and all of the beats that you guys hear that I have in the background hanging out over the course of the live streams this year, courtesy of Fortune West Music. Give him a follow. Give him a listen. The man spits hot fire. Got another member question. McConkey over Terry? I would. I mean, we drafted McConkey in the around the 2-3 turn this year, right? McConkey was a second-round pick in redraft leagues. Terry was a fourth-round pick. Start the guy for week 1. Start the dude that you drafted 2 rounds ahead of the other option, right? If you drafted a guy in the second round or the third round, and you drafted another guy in the fourth or fifth round, and you're between those 2 options, start the dude who you drafted in the second or third round, especially when we're not shaking off any rust or cobwebs in Ladd's situation. Terry is, after missing all of training camp due to the contract negotiation. So, yeah, Ladd over Terry for me, for sure. Probably Ed's. Yes. I would definitely go Ladd. Okay. Let's see. Back up to where did I leave off? Oh, this is okay, let's see. I mean, this is a good team. I mean, I don't know how you ended up with all 3 of those wide receivers, but if I were you, I would be feeling very good. I would be feeling very strong. Those are 3 wide receiver ones. Yeah, your league should not have let London or Thomas, whoever it was, fall to the 3rd round. Unless you made some trades already, which maybe you did. But if you didn't, then you drafted somebody at an insane value. Top 3 picks. Yeah, somebody in your league messed up letting London or Thomas, whoever it was, slip to the 3rd round. It depends on, as far as upgrading over Fields, who's on waivers. You know, is Jordan Love out there? I would probably play Jordan Love over Justin Fields this week because Fields has a bad matchup against Pittsburgh. It is a revenge game, and I love the revenge game narrative. I always like chasing the revenge game narrative if I can. But this is a tough matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a good defense. This could cause problems for Fields throwing the football. And obviously they practiced against Fields all last year. So, you know, they know what to look for. Fields is obviously an elite runner, and that might not be something that you can easily game plan for, but Pittsburgh's familiar with him because he was just on the team last year. If Jordan Love is out there, I would probably play him over Justin Fields. If Drake May is out there, I would play Drake May over Justin Fields. If those 2 guys are not available, I would want to know who else is. If those guys are unavailable, you know, I'll probably still play Fields over guys like CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence. I'm thinking bottom of the barrel now. Bryce Young, Michael Penix. I would play Fields over all of those guys. If Jordan Love or Drake May are available, I would probably play them over Fields just this week because of the matchup. Yeah. I would if Love is not available and Drake May is not available, you could go Fields. That would be fine. It's just not a great matchup against Pittsburgh. Although Cam Hayward is currently in the middle of a contract negotiation, so they're not as strong as they could be. Brock Purdy, if he's out there, yeah, like Drake May, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. I would probably play those guys over Justin Fields. I'd play Justin Herbert over Justin Fields. I wouldn't play Herbert over Kyler, but I would play Herbert over Fields for just this week. For just this week. Let's see. First of all, drafting Achane is not a mistake. Late first round, I mean, that's not unexpected. We have high expectations for Devon Achane. He's got top 5 upside. He's one of the best receiving backs in the NFL. He's one of the fastest players in the NFL. We have a healthy Tua right now. Miami did effort improving their offensive line. They were really bad last year, so there aren't too many more places to go for them but up. So hopefully they are at least a little bit better than they were last year. If Miami can keep Tua healthy, keep him upright, and Tua can get the ball out quickly, I mean, yeah, you're not going to feel any concerns about drafting Achane in the first round. I think that's perfectly fine, first and foremost. Pickens, Pearsall, or Jaylen Warren in the flex. I like Pickens' matchup tonight because I'm not sure who the Eagles' cornerback 2 is going to be. I guess it's Adoree Jackson, but he's bounced around a little bit over the past couple of years. He hasn't been able to really stick with another team. CD will see Quinyon Mitchell, and you're not taking CD out of your lineup, obviously. Not ever. But Pickens is going to have a favorable matchup tonight, and the Cowboys are 7.5, 8-point underdogs, depending on where you look. That dictates that they should be throwing the football. Even if the Cowboys have a lead tonight, they should be throwing the football. They need to stay aggressive against this Eagles team that on paper is better than them. They need to stay aggressive. And they're probably going to struggle running the football tonight and this year in general. Javonte Williams doesn't inspire a ton of confidence, and their offensive line is not as good as it used to be. The Cowboys used to have an elite offensive line. It's not elite anymore. So I don't know how effective they're going to be running the football. They're going to have to throw. So I like Pickens perfectly fine. I do like Pearsall. He might be more of a flex play until we see definitively that he can out-earn targets from Jawan Jennings. Pickens will be the Cowboys in all likelihood, number 2 weapon. Pearsall is probably going to be more like the number 3 for San Francisco, behind Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. And yes, I'm including McCaffrey because that's how good McCaffrey is as a pass catcher. So I'd probably put Pickens over Pearsall, and if it's half PPR, obviously Warren has a little bit more. Warren has a little bit more of an argument, even though it's not a great matchup. If it's full PPR, I would say full send on George Pickens. I would say your floor play is Jaylen Warren. If you think you can get away with a floor play, because Warren is in a tough matchup, but I do think he will handle most of the opportunities in the Steelers' backfield for at least week 1. For at least week 1, I think that's what we're going to get. Mostly Jaylen Warren. I don't know that's going to be for sure the case, but if I had to bet, Warren is the one who leads the running backs in snaps and touches for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I would say he's a fine floor play. Pickens is your upside play. I think a big play is in his range of outcomes tonight. It could be for a score. Obviously, it's hard to predict touchdowns, but this should be a good matchup for Pickens in a game where Dallas is expected to throw the ball a lot, and Pickens probably has the most favorable matchup. CD is going to see Quinyon Mitchell. Jake Ferguson is going to see Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell. Pickens has the most favorable matchup tonight of the Cowboys' weapons. I would probably say Pickens for sure in full PPR, upside play in half PPR, standard scoring or half PPR scoring. Jaylen Warren is a safe floor play. And then, once again, no problem with drafting Achane in the first round. No problem whatsoever. Let's see. And we just got inactives for the Eagles. Azeez Ojulari, Tanner McKee is out, so it's going to be Sam Howell who backs up Jalen Hurts tonight. And then some backup depth guys. Okay. What's going on, Bobby? Good to see you. I see a couple more. Nino and Theo, sit tight. I see your questions. I will get to you guys, but I got some member questions to get to, and I got to make sure I handle them. What's going on, Bobby? It is late for you. It is quite late for you, but I respect the commitment to the game. You need a wide receiver and a flex in full PPR from Tet, Judy, Sutton, Golden, and Pittman. I would probably play Tet. Somebody else asked me about Tet earlier. I feel very good about him. It's a great matchup. He should dominate targets from the jump. Nothing scary about Jacksonville's secondary. This time last year, maybe not week 1, but I think it was like weeks 2 to 7 or weeks 3 to 7 or 3 to 8, something like that. Deontay Johnson. Yes, that Deontay Johnson was the wide receiver, I think 5 or 6 when he was a member of the Carolina Panthers in this offense. We've seen Adam Thielen in spurts last year and then the year before in 2023 have monster stretches of games in this offense. The wide receiver 1 for Dave Canales since he was hired as the Panthers head coach has feasted in this offense. And now they have a true alpha wide receiver 1 in Tet McMillan. I think 10 targets is a layup for him. It's a good matchup. We saw Bryce Young make incredible strides last year in his final 8 weeks, final 9 weeks, whatever it was. So we're feeling better about Bryce. Deontay Johnson is gone. Adam Thielen has been traded. Jalen Coker is on injured reserve. They are down to Tet, Xavier Liga, and Jatavian Sanders as their pass catchers. Sanders, of course, playing tight end for them. Who the heck is even their wide receiver 3 or 4 for this game? I don't even know. Tet's going to get 1 million targets. I feel very strongly about him in that plus matchup. I would play Tet. And then between Judy, Sutton, Golden, and Pittman, I'm defaulting to the guy that you probably drafted first of this group, and that's Courtland Sutton. Yes, he will see L'Jarius Sneed, but they are at home. The Broncos are the better team. It's totally possible they see some short fields if Cam Ward struggles in his first career start against an elite defense. I think at home, Sutton will be fine. He should come through with plenty of volume. Obviously the matchup against Sneed is less than ideal, but I have no problem firing up Sutton against Tennessee. The home run swing would be Jerry Jeudy in a gorgeous, beautiful matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's entirely possible that he goes off. The matchup is spectacular. I guess he's the upside play if you think you need upside, and Sutton is maybe more of a floor play. Again, though, I tend to default to, almost to a fault, whoever I drafted first are the guys I'm playing week 1, unless the matchup is unbearably brutal. If I drafted Jerry Jeudy ahead of some of these other guys, but he was going up against Patrick Surtain week 1, then I wouldn't want to play him. So I guess maybe plan to sit Calvin Ridley this week. But you probably drafted Courtland Sutton ahead of Jerry Jeudy. And so my inclination is to tell you to start the dudes that you drafted first. And I would imagine you drafted Tet and Sutton ahead of Jeudy. Again, it's not that's not a foolproof plan. It's not a guaranteed, just because you drafted them first doesn't necessarily mean that week 1 is the best outcome for them, the best possible scenario for them, because Jeudy has a beautiful matchup against Cincinnati, and we know that Joe Flacco is going to be the week 1 starter for Cleveland. So we actually feel good about the Browns pass catchers. They should be able to produce in this matchup against a terrible Cincinnati defense and a great Cincinnati offense that is going to force their opponents to score points. So I guess I would say start Tet Judy is a ceiling play, like an upside play if you think you need it. Sutton is more of a floor play if you think you can play it safe. And then I'm really bullish on Golden, but let's wait a week. And Pittman, I don't want to play just yet. He didn't have a great year last year. We're expecting some better quarterback play, I guess, from Daniel Jones than Anthony Richardson. I don't even know how much I believe that statement, but hopefully it's stabilized for the Colts passing game at least a little bit this year. But Pittman and Golden, I would hold on ice. I would start Tet. I would start Sutton if I think I can play it safe. If I have anchors everywhere at every other spot, if you've got a stud quarterback, stud running backs, maybe I play Sutton and play it safe. If I feel like I'm lacking in some places and I need to swing for the fences a little bit more, then maybe I go Judy. And then Fortune, Travion or Pacheco at RB2 this week. So again, I have similar thought. If this is a draft, who did you take first? Did you take Pacheco first? Or did you take Travion Henderson first? And I would lean that way. I will say for Pacheco, I am pretty sure he will handle most of the snaps and opportunities for the Chiefs' backfield. For at least week 1, I'm not sure if that'll be Travion for New England. I think for Kansas City, Pacheco handles most of the snaps and opportunities for week 1. Maybe Kareem Hunt gets a little bit more involved. Maybe they bring in Brashard Smith slowly, and maybe his role increases over the course of the season. But I wouldn't count on that for at least week 1. With Travion, obviously this new coaching regime drafted him. They brought him in. He's their hand-picked guy, so you feel good about that. And this is an ascending Patriots offense with a lot of high expectations, specifically tied to the growth of second-year quarterback Drake May. And Ramondre has been a bit of a disappointment, right? He fumbled the ball a lot last year. He was putting the ball on the ground again in camp this past summer. I could see Ramondre getting more burn this week than we would like to see. The whole world wants to see Travion Henderson get most of the opportunities in the Patriots' backfield. The Patriots coaching staff might not be super accommodating of that if they decide to lean on the veteran a little bit more for at least week 1. And then again, week 1, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I'm happy to repeat myself a couple of times for anybody who's cycling in and out and didn't hear what I said earlier. Week 1 is weird as hell. It always is. It's always weird. The things that we expect to see happen don't always take place in week 1 more than any other week. It's just a weird week. Just kind of blanket statement. Last year, I think, feel free to fact check on me this, but I think Alec Pierce led the league in receiving yards in week 1 of the 2024 season. Weird crap happens. Weird stuff happens in week 1. And this could be that scenario where Ramondre gets a little bit of run ahead of Travion Henderson. If you drafted Henderson in the 4th round, you probably need to play him. But if you do have a guy like Pacheco, maybe for week 1, maybe for just this week, I would suggest Pacheco over Henderson. I hate to do that. I really do, because Travion is so much more exciting than Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco's a plotter, and he's kind of boring. But this Chiefs offense is more established than New England. They should be better than the New England Patriots offense. I have to imagine they've got some revenge on their mind, just in general, after they got absolutely blasted in the Super Bowl. I gotta think they want to come out aggressive on offense, and that, it doesn't start with Pacheco for the Chiefs, but in their backfield right now today, he's their best guy. I do think Travion is the Patriots' best guy, but as a rookie, I could see a scenario where he has some frustrating usage this week. I can see that. I hope not. But I can see that path. So I guess I would give the slight nod to Pacheco. I don't want to bench Travion Henderson. But for 1 week, as a rookie, with an incumbent still there, and week 1 being weird, I may slightly lean Pacheco. And I don't even like saying that. But I'm giving you my thoughts I'm trying to give you thoughts from up here and not with my heart. My heart tells you fire up Travion Henderson all week, every single time. My head is telling you to start Pacheco if you can only start one. But I love Travion Henderson. I think he's going to be I think he's going to be a dynamite player, and I think he's going to be great. He's going to, before long, be a staple in your fantasy lineup, and you won't even be asking about him because he's just going to be an auto. That might not be the case for week 1, though. I have a lot of shares of Travion Henderson, and I feel very good about him. But if there was 1 week where I was going to have a little bit of pause, it would be week 1. If he comes out firing, I will. I don't know what I'll do. The pants will be coming off at the bar. A couple more member questions from Bobby, and then I will move back up to the up in the order in the chat. So appreciate everybody's patience. Love or Young at quarterback this week? I would probably go Jordan Love. Right now, he's the better quarterback. He's better than Bryce Young. It's a good matchup. Yeah, I worry that he has Jaden Reed, but does he really have Jaden Reed? Because Reed's working through the Jones fracture. I don't feel good about Jaden Reed at all this year, by the way. He's a do not draft for me. Obviously, drafts are pretty much complete at this point. But I went from liking Jaden Reed's discounted cost this year compared to last year to not wanting anything to do with him because of the Jones fracture. So that hurts Jordan Love, but still like Matthew Golden. Tucker Kraft's a good tight end. Romeo Doubs is a good wide receiver. They've got some other depth guys that are uninspiring, but they can maybe pick up the slack a little bit. Luke Musgrave, Dontavian Wicks. They've got a couple other names there. And then Josh Jacobs can catch the football too. He can help in that regard. And Love can run. He will run. Not like Lamar or Josh Allen, but Jordan Love can run and will run. So I feel okay about that. I think Bryce Young's got some sneaky wheels too. But again, Bryce Young, for everything good he did at the end of the season last year, we've seen Love do better for a little bit longer. I'll give the edge to Jordan Love here. I'll give the edge to Jordan Love. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? JJ and McBride. Okay, yeah, these are anchors. These are studs. So the floor should be fine. But the upside play is Judy. Yeah, if you're looking specifically, and I appreciate that you asked it this way. When I'm going for upside, it's the team that's playing the Bengals. Anybody who's playing the Cincinnati Bengals, they are your floor and your ceiling, I guess. So maybe I would recommend Judy. That being said, I do quite like Cortland Sutton at home. I think he will be perfectly fine. But the upside play is whoever's playing a defense like Cincinnati. So that would be Judy. The upside play would be Judy. And I understand wanting to fire up any and all receivers against the Cincinnati Bengals. Hell, in deeper leagues, Cedric Tillman is viable. And David Njoku is a slam dunk tight end one for whatever that's worth. I don't think I drafted enough in Njoku this year. I was worried about their quarterback situation. This might be like something where Flacco plays 4 weeks and then they go 1-3 and 0-4, and then they turn the page to Dylan Gabriel or Shadur Sanders, and maybe one of those guys play well. Maybe neither of them play well. Maybe they go back to Flacco. Who the hell knows? It's like I didn't trust drafting the Browns too frequently this year, just because. Like in week 5, is Joe Flacco going to still be the quarterback? I don't know. And Jacobs and Kamara at running back. So yeah, to that point, I would definitely play. Well, I guess you have Tet, so you could stack Bryce Young and Tet. I would still go Love. I would go Jordan Love. He's the more proven player. He's the better quarterback as of right now. I'll take Jordan Love. And then again, Judy is the upside play against Cincinnati, because you are in all likelihood going to want to start anybody that you can this year against the Cincinnati Bengals. All right. Back up to where I left off. And I did get this question, by the way, because I saw it at the top. Just FYI, the answer is Tet McMillan. And I gave my thoughts. If you missed it, just rewind to when I have your question highlighted, starred. But I would play Tet McMillan over a guy like DJ Moore. Okay, this pertains to tonight, so let's get to it. Bench Pickens tonight. For Samson or ETN? No, play Pickens. Not over dart throw running backs. Like, I don't know who is going to play running back for the Cleveland Browns this week. I don't know if it's going to be Dylan Sampson. I don't know if it's going to be Jerome Ford. I mean, it's going to be both of those guys, but who's going to be the guy that hits? That's anybody's guess. No, Pickens is a clear-cut starter for the Dallas Cowboys in a game where they are 7.5-point underdogs. I don't know if that line's moved to 8 yet. It's not moving down to 7, not after the Parsons trade. They are 7.5 to 8-point underdogs. They are going to be throwing the football. The Cowboys will be. Pickens has a plus matchup against the Eagles cornerback 2, whoever that is. I guess right now it's Adoree Jackson. Give me Pickens over Sampson and over ETN. I don't trust ETN either. It's a good matchup against Carolina. Their defense still is not good, but I can't sit here definitively and tell you that ETN is going to outsnap Tank Bigsby. I think he outsnaps Bishal Tootin week 1, and ETN should be fine as like a lower flex play, like an RB3, but Pickens is a wide receiver 2. And Sampson also, again, same deal. RB3 at best, in all likelihood. Play Pickens tonight against the Eagles in a game where Dallas is going to have to throw the ball a lot, especially in full PPR. Thank you for confirming that it's full PPR. Yeah, play Pickens over dart throw running backs. Okay, moving right along. Connor, Walker, DJ, and DK. The running backs. The running backs. I would play. Connor is in probably the best matchup he'll have all year. He's playing the New Orleans Saints. They might be the worst team in the league. At best, they're a bottom 3 team. And the Cardinals are like 6.5-point favorites on the road. That feels like it could be a trap for the record. For anybody who plays against the spread, I don't know that Arizona can cover. However, they are the favorites. They are the better team. I don't know how many teams they're better than, but I know they're better than the Saints, or I'm pretty sure they're better than the Saints anyway. Connor's in a beautiful matchup against New Orleans. You got to play him. And then Walker, I think, is actually in a pretty good matchup against San Francisco. Graham Barfield with Fantasy Points put out some information that San Francisco struggled against the zone read running scheme last year, and that's what Seattle likes to run, and it's where Walker excels. So Walker's fully healthy. We're expecting him to be an upper echelon running back when healthy, even with Charbonnet in the mix. He is their starter. He figures to continue to see the most snaps and opportunities between the two backs for Seattle. I would play those two running backs. I would play Connor and Walker over Charbonnet, DJ, and DK Metcalf. I like DK Metcalf. Should be a perfectly fine spot for him against the Jets. But I'll take the running backs week 1. Especially Connor against New Orleans. I'll take the running backs week 1 for sure. And I'm not putting Jerome Ford over Connor or Walker. Yeah, give me Connor against New Orleans. Give me Walker against San Francisco, which is actually not a bad matchup. It looks like a tough matchup on paper against the 49ers, but I think it's, based on Graham Barfield's data, Walker should be just fine. And then DJ Moore is kind of in a territory of where I need to see what the distribution looks like for targets in this new Bears offense. Ben Johnson, added Colston Loveland, added Luther Burden, expecting another step forward for Roma Dunze. DJ Moore should still be their best player, but I need to see how things shake out first, especially when you have anchor running backs to lean on. That's where I would go. And yes, really quickly, for those of you who are just joining, welcome in. Appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. I will get to all questions, but a perk of being a member of the channel is your question will be answered out of order in priority order. So Sport Dog just asked another question, so I will get to this question, and then I will get to everybody else's. But I see your questions. If I haven't answered them yet, I will get to them. Yes, I do a waiver wire show on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday of the season, I will be available to do a waiver wire show, 6 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday, or as many Tuesdays that I am available for during the season that I will make time for. Tuesday will be a waiver wire show. You can tune in then. I will go over my favorite pickups week over week, and then if you have specific questions that pertain to your situation, I will of course take them. Yep. Tuesday waiver wire show starting on September 9th and running all season long. Running all season long. Football's back, baby. We are back. We have never been more back than we are right now. Okay. Egbuka or Pacheco in standard scoring. I really like Egbuka, but because of if there's no points for catches, then I lean the running back by default. I do think for week 1, Pacheco is the guy that leads the Chiefs backfield in snaps and opportunities. I don't know that it will be that way all season long. They've retained Kareem Hunt. They signed Elijah Mitchell for depth. They drafted Brashard Smith. I got to think, at least right now on paper, Pacheco is the dude that should lead this backfield in snaps and opportunities throughout the season, at least the early portion of the season. In standard scoring, I will always deprioritize wide receivers in favor of running backs if they are in the same range. I would say these two are in the same range as far as week 1 rankings. Therefore, I would lean Pacheco. Give me the running back in standard scoring. I like Egbuka a lot. I do. I think he's going to be peppered with targets. I think he's going to be busy early on this season, especially the first month of the year. No Chris Godwin, no Jalen McMillan. Cade Otton did return to practice, which is a good sign for his availability. But for wide receiver, we're pretty much down to like Mike Evans, Egbuka, and I don't even know. Is Sterling Shepard still on that team? I'm not even sure. I like Egbuka a lot. Make no mistake. I think he's going to rack up a lot of production. And it's a good matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. But since you're not getting any points for catches and it's just standard scoring, I lean the running back. I lean Pacheco. And then do you pick up ETN? Well, you're not dropping a Dunze. And just to be clear, this is Travis Etienne, right? Not his brother Trevor. Just to be clear, I assume it's Travis. If he's available, I don't love Travis Etienne, but I would probably take him over Ollie Gordon, unless you have Devon Achane. If you have Devon Achane, do not drop Ollie Gordon because he's the direct handcuff. If you don't have Devon Achane and you want to pick up Travis Etienne to drop Ollie Gordon, that's fine. That's okay. I'm fine with that. Yeah. Not a Dunze, though. Do not drop a Dunze. Henderson or Monty? Well, it depends on the scoring a little bit. If it's full PPR, I would probably go Henderson. If it is half PPR, it's kind of a push. I think Montgomery's role is a little safer than Henderson's is. Look, we're all excited about TreVeyon Henderson, right? Everyone is excited about TreVeyon Henderson. We don't know definitively that he's going to lead the Patriots backfield in snaps and opportunities for week one. For just week one. I hope he does. I think we're ready to be done with the Ramondre Stevenson experiment and let's unleash TreVeyon Henderson, right? We are all ready for it. The fantasy community is yearning for it. I'm sure Patriots fans are yearning for it. He was their high second round pick, and he's looked as explosive as anybody in the league throughout the preseason. That doesn't always immediately translate for rookies week one. We want it to, but that doesn't mean it's gonna happen. Montgomery is a vet. He's a boring vet at this point, but he's a damn good football player. I feel like his role is a little bit safer. If it's a full PPR league, I could see justifying wanting to play TreVeyon Henderson. But if it's half PPR or standard scoring, I think I would lean Montgomery. Montgomery in standard scoring, it's a push in half PPR with maybe a slight edge to Montgomery because I'm a little more confident about his role week one. If it's full PPR, then I'm fine swinging for the fences with TreVeyon Henderson. So it depends on your scoring. Okay. John, I see your question. Sit tight. I will get to you, but E111 has a question, and as a member, I got to get to them first. Thoughts on Dante Thornton? I mean, I'm excited about him. I'm not really sure. I mean, I know why he ended up in the fourth round. He didn't have a ton of production in college, but when he got his opportunities, he was a home run hitter. I think he's like 6'4" with blazing fast speed. He's 6'5". This dude is a monster. Dante Thornton is 6'5", 205 pounds. At least that's, what Google tells me doing a quick search. I knew he was tall. I didn't know he was 6'5". How much fob from 100? Not a lot. Maybe like six fob bucks. Not a ton. We don't know definitively how big his role is going to be this year. He's behind Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers in opportunities. And honestly, even as a running back, he might be behind Ashton Genty as well. But he fills a need the Raiders desperately needed outside wide receiver help. Bowers, obviously, stud tight end. Jacoby Myers is a good slot receiver who works inside. I think he could go outside a little bit, but he's a guy that works a little bit more on the inside. He's more of like the Z or the Y receiver, the slot guy. They needed an X, and Dante Thornton fits that mold. He fits that role. Is he going to be a constant mainstay as a starter for them as a fourth-round rookie from day one? I don't know about that. I'm not sure that I'm willing to go that far. So I'm not willing to spend a ton on him. However, he's got a wide open opportunity. I would say 5 to 7 fob bucks, not more than that. I wouldn't go crazy. He's still going to be the third at best in the pecking order behind Bowers and Myers. Now, Myers did make the trade request. I don't think that it doesn't appear likely that the Raiders are going to trade him, at least not right now. So for now, Thornton stays further down on the depth chart, but his talent is very intriguing. He's got the size to be, that big body X receiver for Vegas. I quite like him as a stash. If you can get him for 5 to 7 fob bucks, I'm perfectly fine with that. And then yes, with Amari Cooper officially retiring, opportunity is even more through the roof for him. Who knows? Maybe Amari Cooper at this stage of his career saw Dante Thornton do what he was doing and thought to himself, I can't do this anymore. Maybe it was Thornton. Who knows? We'll never know. But he is a very intriguing talent that will probably play a decent amount on the outside for Vegas. So yeah, I'd drop 5 to 7 fob bucks on him if you can get him before Sunday. Yeah. And yes, Amari Cooper is a drop. He retired. Even if he unretires and signs with a new team, I mean, he's washed. He's cooked at this point. We saw it after he got traded to Buffalo last year. He was a part-time player for them. And, on one hand, it's like, well, he joined a new team mid-season. It's hard to acclimate and integrate a new player into an offense that's been on a roll and in a rhythm since the offseason. But still, you expect a good wide receiver to eventually integrate in a good offense, and that just never really happened for Amari Cooper. And he only had 1 or 2 good games when he was with the Browns last year. Now, obviously, they had bad quarterback play, but he didn't set the world on fire. I think he's, he retired for a reason. He's at the end. He had a hell of a career. He had a great run at Alabama. Hell of a career to start his career. He was a damn good wide receiver for at least 7 or 8 years. I think he fell off. And that's what happens. Father Time is undefeated. We all know this. Amari Cooper is a drop. Even if he unretires and signs somewhere else, he's not going to be worthy of a pickup. So yeah, you can get rid of him. Yeah. He saw Dante Thornton. He said, I'm out. I got my money. I'm just going to go live my life. I can't do this anymore. This dude is 10 years younger than me and way faster than I am at this point in my career. I'm going to chalk it up to that. That's how it went down. Okay. Keenan, Charbonnet, Hollywood Brown, or Marvin Mims. Standard scoring with bonuses. So maybe what? Do you get an extra point for 100 yards? 100 yards rushing or receiving? Not that that's a huge difference maker, but you're between some depth options here, right? So, on one hand, Hollywood Brown is going to get a lot of burn because Rashee Rice isn't going to play, obviously. Keenan Allen is going to get a lot of burn because there's not a ton of talent ahead of him on the depth chart besides Ladd McConkey. Even in his advanced age, Keenan Allen is better than Quentin Johnston. Keandre Lambert-Smith is an intriguing rookie, but still a rookie. And they don't have anything at tight end. So, and who else do they have? I don't even, that's pretty much it. Keenan Allen is interesting. I like Charbonnet a lot, but because Kenneth Walker is going to play, I think he's more of a stash for me. I think Charbonnet's a little bit more of a stash, and he's a very valuable stash, but I think he's a little bit more of a stash. I think Keenan Allen is probably my answer here. I like Marvin Mims, but he's been boom bust through the first couple seasons of his career. He just missed a little bit of practice time with a groin injury. He's fine. He returned to practice this week, but he's the team's wide receiver 2 at best in a game where the Broncos are favored over the Titans by 8.5, 9 points. If he doesn't make a big play early, he may not get a whole heck of a lot of burn or run if the Broncos are winning this game at halftime comfortably and they're running the football in the second half and they're not throwing the ball a ton because they don't have to. I would probably shy away from Mims for just this week. I think my answer is Keenan Allen. In a default scenario like this, I'm willing to bank on a guy like Keenan Allen who has chemistry with Justin Herbert. Hollywood Brown is a veteran as well, but he doesn't have as much chemistry with Patrick Mahomes. He didn't really play last year. Now, Mahomes probably doesn't need a whole heck of a lot of time to develop a rapport with his receivers because he's Patrick Mahomes. But Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, played together for 4 seasons before last year, and now he's back. It's probably not going to take a whole heck of a lot of time for them to get back up to speed and get their connection kind of reestablished. I think Keenan Allen would be my answer here. I think I would say Keenan Allen would be my answer here. Excuse me. Charbonnet, excellent stash. Hollywood is an intriguing stash for as long as Rice is suspended, but I'm not willing to play him yet. Because Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce are in all likelihood ahead of him on the pecking order. Whereas for the Chargers, Keenan Allen is probably just contending with Ladd McConkey. And then Mims, stash, Charbonnet, stash. I'll say Keenan Allen. And then from this group, I would say Dobbins. Ramondre, I think, could lead the Patriots in opportunities this week. I don't know how confident I am in that, and I'm just not sure how good he is. Dobbins at least should be the week 1 starter for the Broncos. They may bring RJ Harvey along a little slower. And it's a game that the team, again, Denver is favored by 8.5, 9 points in this game. You figure they're going to be running the football in the second half with a lead. That's how, that's what it looks like on paper. We don't know that it's going to go that way for sure, but Cam Ward is playing his first career game against one of the best defenses in the league on the road. The Broncos should not have a difficult time running the football. Sampson is a dart throw. Caleb Johnson is a dart throw at this stage of his rookie campaign. And Trey Benson is a dart throw with James Conner, fully healthy and presumably still working as a bell cow for at least week 1. I would say Dobbins here. And then I would probably go between Devontae. I'm very bullish on Tet McMillan. I really am. But I think it's a good matchup for Adams. But he is his team's wide receiver 2. Puka is going to be the team's wide receiver 1. I actually think my answer might be Tet. I think Tet's going to have a nice game against Jacksonville as Bryce Young's clear-cut wide receiver 1. 10 to 12 targets should be a lock for Tet. He should come through on volume alone. Adams is awesome. Future Hall of Famer in all likelihood. He's a little older now. He's in a good offense, but he is the team's wide receiver 2 behind Puka in all likelihood. Tet is a bona fide clear-cut wide receiver 1, and it's a really good matchup against Jacksonville. So I slightly lean Tet, but I love Devontae Adams. If you can find a way to get him into your lineup, I would. I see I have some member questions. Again, I see other questions. I promise I will get to them, but I got to get to my members first. And I see that we are at 7:35 Eastern, so we've got about 25 minutes or so before kickoff. So I will keep this thing moving. Oh yeah, that's right. I got that. We talked about Dante Thornton. Upside is there. What are my thoughts on handcuffing running backs? Do it when you can, but don't force the issue. So, you know, you have Tyler Algier as a standalone player. I don't know that I would bother with Emmanuel Wilson. They have another guy there, right? Emmanuel Wilson is probably the team's RB2, at least right now. Marshawn Lloyd is back on injured reserve for the 8th time. They also have Chris Brooks. Yeah, like I'd rather have Tyler Algier in a vacuum over Emmanuel Wilson and the disparity is pretty significant. Tyler Algier's a pretty good football player. Yes, he is the backup to Bijan, so he's not going to get as much burn. He's not going to get as much run, but he is a valuable stash because he's a good football player. We've seen that. We've seen that play out over the past couple of seasons. Same deal with Kendre Miller. That one just comes down to, if Kamara goes down, do I even really want to pick up another player in this offense? The Saints are going to be bad, like really bad. Worst team in the league bad is highly likely for them. I would just keep Algier. I want handcuffs. I want handcuffs, but I don't want to do it at the expense of dropping guys who I think are more talented straight up than the handcuff. If anything happened to Josh Jacobs, it would probably be a committee for Green Bay. If anything happens to Kamara, even if Kendre Miller is their main guy, I just don't know that I trust that offense. They're not going to be good. They're not going to be good. So I would say just keep Algier. I like handcuffing. I definitely like taking a backup running back, with the starter that I drafted higher in the draft, but not at the expense of talented players, just straight up talent. And Tyler Algier is a better player than Emmanuel Wilson or Kendre Miller. So I would just, in this instance, keep Tyler Algier. Yeah. Yeah. Just keep Algier. And then, Batty, we did, E111 asked about this just a short while ago. Yeah, I feel quite good about Dante Thornton. I'm happy to stash him in leagues where I can muster up a roster spot. I think he's going to have a good chance to contribute for them this year. The Amari Cooper retirement only kind of further cements that. He is going to be behind Bowers and Jacoby Myers and possibly maybe even Ashton Genty in the pecking order for targets. But he's a big X receiver. He's 6'5", blazing speed. He just probably needs some development. I think he was a 4th-round pick. He didn't have a ton of production last year at Tennessee, but when he got the ball, he made big plays. Good things happened when the Vols got him the football. So yes, Thornton is a deep sleeper, worth keeping an eye on in shallow leagues, worth an add in deeper leagues if you can find a roster spot for him. Yeah, I feel strongly about him. He's a stash right now. You're not starting him anywhere, of course. But we're taking the long approach with a guy like Dante Thornton. He may not have a role for a little bit, but he could absolutely grow into one as the season progresses. Yeah, I quite like Thornton and his potential. Yep. Amari Cooper saw him doing his thing, and he said, "That's it. I'm out of here. I am retiring." Let's see. Seahawks or Bears defense. If these are your best options, Seahawks are at home against San Francisco. The Bears are at home against the Vikings. Neither are the best. Neither are great options. Both teams have really good offenses. I mean, if you want to take a shot on Chicago because it's J.J. McCarthy's first career game, and it's on the road, I guess I would say that. I guess I would, that would be my suggestion between these two. I guess I would say that's my option between these two. I would take the Bears because at least it's JJ McCarthy's first career start on the road. So maybe take Chicago. Seattle, like, they are also at home, but the 49ers are a very experienced offense at this point. Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle. Yeah, at least with the Vikings, it's McCarthy's first start. So between these two, I would say Chicago. And then really quick between Dak or Trevor Lawrence, because you do have to make this decision somewhat quickly. I actually might go Trevor Lawrence here. This could be a tough matchup for Dak. Yes, he could come through with volume. He absolutely could come through with some volume because I think the Cowboys are going to have to throw the ball a lot tonight. But the Eagles have a good defensive line. They've got good linebackers. They've got good pieces in the secondary. They're a complete team. Dallas has offensive line questions. They don't have pass catching questions. So, again, Dak should have no problem with volume. I think, 30, 35 pass attempts should be pretty much a certainty. But it's a tough matchup. Lawrence has a good matchup against the Carolina Panthers defense that has not been good for the past couple of years. And they didn't make too many significant changes just yet. That's going to be a slow burn. They're going to build that defense over the next maybe year or two. But it's probably not going to happen for them overnight this year. I would take Trevor Lawrence, throwing the ball to Brian Thomas, throwing the ball to Travis Hunter, in a great matchup against Carolina. That's where I would go. I would go Trevor over Dak. Is Dak better than Trevor Lawrence? Yes, of course. But it's a significantly worse matchup for him. Significantly worse matchup for him. Let's see, Batty. Do I like Michael Pittman at all this year? I want to. I want to because he was like a 3rd-round pick last year, and now he's like a 9th or 10th-round pick. He has tumbled. A good deal relative to expectations last year. The problem is the Colts quarterback situation. Daniel Jones isn't good, and Anthony Richardson, unfortunately, might be even worse than that. Now, the Colts are not, has Richardson gotten a fair shake? I don't know. Obviously, there's been a lot of scrutiny around him. His conditioning, his injury issues are well documented at this point. They decided to go with Daniel Jones, who doesn't inspire a ton of confidence over the course of an NFL season. I think he maybe raises the floor of the pass catchers, but I don't know that he raises the ceiling of the pass catchers. I think that's more Richardson for all of his faults. I would say he's got the bigger arm. And I don't know. Pittman dealt with a lot of back issues last year. Is he cleared of all those? Is he better than Josh Downs? I don't know. Is he better than Tyler Warren as just a straight up as a weapon in the offense? I don't know. Tyler Warren's drawing rave reviews in camp right now. Or was. I want to like Pittman. I can't fully endorse him. He has a lot of questions to answer before the start of the season. Is he healthy from the back injury? And is he still their top weapon? Or did he get usurped by both Downs and Warren? Is he 3rd in the pecking order of a bad passing offense? If he is, then I'm not that excited. Yeah, I'm not super. I want to like Michael Pittman, but I have a hard time getting behind him. And then I see one more member question from Bobby for now, and then I can fire off the other questions that I see. So sit tight if I haven't gotten to your question yet. Just knocking out the member questions again one more time. That is a perk of the channel. Members get questions responded to in priority order. So yeah, just to that point, I would prefer Josh Downs because right now it feels like he was the better player last year for them. He was the better player for them. And I like Josh Downs personally. I like Josh Downs. He's the type of like shiftier, speedier receiver that I like. The problem is we can't really have any confidence in the Colts quarterback situation. I guess Daniel Jones is better for their floor. I guess. I'll take Josh Downs. Slightly. It's close. It's not even the gap is not very big between these two guys. But I would slightly lean Josh Downs. He was better for them last year. And I think he picked up an injury earlier in the offseason, but he has since moved past that. So I'll take Downs. Who would I start in the flex in full PPR between Jerome Ford, DJ Moore, RJ Harvey, and Hollywood Brown? DJ Moore gets the Vikings on Monday Night Football. Jerome Ford gets a beautiful matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Hollywood against the Chargers in Brazil. Harvey in his first career game against the Tennessee Titans. The upside play here is Jerome Ford. Because Quinshon Judkins isn't going to play. Dylan Sampson is a rookie. And they're playing the Bengals, who have a horrendous defense. And, I know I got done a little earlier saying, for week one, in general, start the guys that you drafted first, and that's DJ Moore. And in full PPR, obviously, that lends a little bit more of a boost to the wide receivers. But I think I might go Ford for just 1 week. Against Cincinnati. It's dicey. But Judkins isn't going to play. And Sampson is a rookie. So I think Ford will lead the backfield in snaps and opportunities in a beautiful matchup. Whereas DJ Moore, he should continue to be the Bears wide receiver 1, but we're expecting Roma Dunze to take a second-year leap, and they drafted Colston Loveland and Luther Burden. That might not matter much for week 1. Maybe. But there's a lot of weapons here for the Bears offense to work with. Moore is a good player. He's probably still their best offensive playmaker. But it's going to be really interesting to see what this new look Bears offense does and who they prioritize. And it's not as good of a matchup that as Jerome Ford. Man, it's dicey. It's a bit of an upside play. It's a bit of a moonshot play. If you don't need a moonshot play, then maybe just roll with DJ Moore and hope for the best. But the upside play here is Jerome Ford in a spectacular matchup against the Bengals. Harvey, I want to like. I do like. I like RJ Harvey. I'm not sure what his role is week 1. It's possible he doesn't get a ton of burn, and they lean on the veteran Dobbins for the first week. It's possible. And then Hollywood is a little bit more of a dart throw than these guys. I guess I would say floor is DJ Moore, upside is Jerome Ford, and then RJ Harvey is a stash who is, maybe we're starting him as soon as week 2, but I do think Dobbins is going to get run ahead of him this week. And it could make for some frustrating usage. Could. So Ford upside, more is the floor. Yeah, you can drop Amari Cooper for another defense. It depends on who's available. Like I guess I assume guys like the Rams or Washington are probably not available at this point. If they are, I think they would be better options than the Bears. The Patriots against the Raiders, they might be okay. I would say if the Rams and the Commanders and the Cardinals and the Patriots are all taken, then maybe just go with Chicago. But you can still drop Amari Cooper for something. He retired. Yeah, drop Amari Cooper for anything. He's retired. He's gone. Pollard, Jordan Mason, and Ramondre Stevenson as running back depth. That's fine. You may again, Ramondre is probably going to have a role for at least the first couple of weeks, and potentially as the primary guy. Potentially. But Pollard I quite like. Tajay Spears has a high ankle sprain. That's the type of injury where even when he comes back from that, it can linger. It can be re-aggravated. It's something that he may very well deal with for the entire season. So Pollard is looking good to dominate snaps and opportunities for the Titans offense, Titans backfield all season long. I've liked Tajay Spears as a talent. I don't want him this year. High ankle sprain, already on injured reserve. Even when he comes back week 5 or 6, if that's assuming he's ready, he's gonna be brought along slowly. And now it's midseason, and you're not getting anything out of him. And then, of course, there's a decent likelihood that he re-aggravates the injury. That's the type of injury that has a high rate of reoccurrence. So I'd rather not deal with Tajay Spears. So Pollard is great running back depth. So is Jordan Mason. The Vikings prioritized bringing him in via trade. I like Aaron Jones. I've always been an Aaron Jones guy. He is older at this point. It sounds like we could be headed to an ambiguous backfield. The coach speak this offseason has indicated or suggested that Jordan Mason might be getting the goal line opportunities, maybe the early down work. If Jones is maybe only mixing in on early downs, but not primarily getting the early downs and is maybe more of a pass catcher. That's the thing with Jordan Mason. That's the one thing with Jordan Mason, if I'm remembering correctly. He doesn't really catch the football. He in 3 career seasons, he has, and obviously he was only, he was marginally used his first 2 years, and then he got an expanded role last year. He has 14 career catches, Jordan Mason. So Aaron Jones, as an old head, is still a better pass catcher than Jordan Mason. But if Mason is getting the early down and goal line work, he's probably going to end up as the more valuable back for fantasy, even without the receiving chops. So I like that. I like that for depth as well. Yeah. So Pollard, Jordan Mason, good depth. Ramondre is fine, at least for now. And we can see how that Patriots backfield shakes out. But it's not a matter of if, but when Travion Henderson takes over. He's not built like a bell cow feature back, but he's going to make big plays. He's going to make explosive plays. He's going to be a dude that does it on efficiency and explosiveness, and I fully expect him to be a big-time playmaker for the Patriots and eventually, if not sooner than later, a steady RB2 for fantasy. To that point, I'm not really expecting Ramondre to turn it around. He has fumbling issues. He has ball security problems. He was having ball security problems in camp. It's a new coaching staff that handpicked Travion Henderson. Ramondre's not going to die. He's not just going to go away. But this is the stiffest competition he's had for opportunities since he signed the contract extension with New England. Worth a roster spot? Yes. Worth considering starting every week? No way. Yeah. All right. I got a couple more member questions, and I know we are coming up on the top of the hour, so I have some questions to get through. So let me blast through these a little bit. Dynasty, hang on to Pittman or trade him for Thornton. If you're competing, I think I would hang on to Pittman. If you're a fringe contender and you're trying to decide what to do, then that's a little bit of a deeper question. Do you think you should go all in and go for it? Then you maybe want to keep Pittman. If you are not a contender, then trade him for Dante Thornton and see if Thornton turns into anything. But I think for now, Pittman is worth a hold as a contender. But either way, hopefully you're not relying on him. Hopefully he's nothing more than like veteran depth at this point. But I'm not ready to pull the trigger on Thornton just yet unless you're headed toward a rebuild. And then which of these tight ends make the biggest impact? I like Jatavian Sanders. The industry likes Brenton Strange, and he looked good last year in his opportunities. And then Theo Johnson. Theo has no competition at the tight end position. I guess none of these guys have direct competition on their teams for tight end for opportunities at tight end. The thinnest wide receiver core of this group, when everybody's healthy, is the Giants. Right, they have Malik Neighbors. Well, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, I guess, is better than what the Panthers have after Tet McMillan. They like Jalen Coker, but now he's on injured reserve, and I'm not sure that Xavier Legette is very good. I'll say Sanders. I'll say Jatavian Sanders. He's going to be their starter. Bryce Young made strides at the end of the season last year. I think he's a solid quarterback. I don't know that he's a great quarterback, but I think he's going to be a solid quarterback. Tet McMillan is the alpha, and then after that, it's a hodgepodge. So Sanders could absolutely emerge. Brenton Strange, very intriguing. The industry loves him. He had some good games last year when Evan Ingram didn't play. Now Ingram is gone. So he is the clear-cut starter. But how many targets can he siphon from Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter? And I don't know how much better Trevor Lawrence is than Bryce Young. I don't know that he is better than Bryce Young. Trevor Lawrence has proved very little thus far through his career. And then Theo Johnson, I like him. They cut Greg Dulcich, not that he was really a factor. But they moved on from him, and that was like pretty much the only representation of competition at the tight end position that the Giants had. They're moving forward with Theo. The problem is they have a bad quarterback situation. Yeah. I would say Sanders. Give me Jatavian. Give me Jatavian. I think is his third year leap potential for him. Give me Jatavian. All right, we're like 15 minutes from kickoff, so let me make sure I have everything taken care of here. Half PPR between Devontae Smith and DK Metcalf. I love Devontae Smith, but I would lean Metcalf as the clear-cut alpha wide receiver. Pittsburgh has nothing else at wide receiver behind DK Metcalf. The Eagles have A.J. Brown to go along with Devontae Smith, and then obviously a slew of other really good weapons. Pittsburgh has very little on offense. It's DK Metcalf and a bag of chips at wide receiver. So I will say sit Devontae Smith tonight if you can't play both and play DK Metcalf. Yeah, I'll take Metcalf over Devontae as a clear cut. He's going to get wide receiver one. He's going to get a wide receiver one target share. You're the third. Okay, and you're the third or fourth best team. Yeah, keep Pittman. You're competing. You're competing. And you probably want you need like a veteran presence for those first 6 games while Rice is out. Pittman is more likely to contribute this year, like fantasy relevant production, than Dante Thornton is, most likely. So I would keep Pittman as if you're like a top 3 or 4 team, I would keep Pittman. Yeah, Will Lutz is worth keeping. The Denver Broncos should be a good offense. And they have a good defense, so they'll keep games close. There shouldn't be too many blowouts. So that'll give Lutz, more field goal opportunities. Yeah, Lutz is fine. There's nothing wrong with Lutz. Nothing wrong with Lutz. Let's see. With the CMC news. What CMC news? Oh, great. There it is. Are you serious? Christian McCaffrey was added. Oh, God. Here we go. Christian McCaffrey added to the injury report with a calf injury 1 day after he fully participated in practice. Now, this could be smoke and mirrors, but yes, if Brian Robinson, oh God, if Brian Robinson is available, grab him. And if he's not available, you can grab if Brian Robinson is available, is not available, yes, you can grab Garendo for a guy like Dameon Pierce just to protect yourself. Although is Garendo hurt? It doesn't matter. Dameon Pierce is not worth a hold anyway, even in the situation where he's got a great opportunity ahead of him. Here we go. I was so confident in Christian McCaffrey. This could be smoke and mirrors. But we got to err on the side of caution. Yes, Brian Robinson is worth a pickup. And honestly, in deeper leagues, so is Garendo. Oh, God. Of course. Brian, so Brian Robinson is probably, is Garendo healthy? Am I tripping? Like, why do I think Garendo is, Oh, yeah, he's okay. Full participant in practice on Wednesday. Either one, we don't know. So when they made the trade, when San Francisco made the trade for Brian Robinson, Kyle Shanahan declared that Brian Robinson was the team's RB2. I don't trust Kyle Shanahan. I think he's, I don't think he is the king of coach speak. He is the king of putting out false information. I don't know how true that is, but they did make the trade to acquire him. Either one, if either are available, either are both are worth picking up and stashing. If Brian Robinson is available, pick him up. If he's not available, but Isaac Garendo is, you can pick Isaac Garendo up. Christian McCaffrey on the injury report with a calf injury. He was a full participant in practice yesterday. I don't know how serious this is. I'm sure we'll get more information as the night unfolds and as we get into tomorrow. But yes, it is worth grabbing either one of those two for whoever you deem to be the last guy on your bench. A Dameon Pierce would qualify as a dude worth dropping for either Brian Robinson or Isaac Guerrero. Oh, Christian McCaffrey! I was singing your praises all offseason long. That's a great home run swing at the end of the first round, and now on the injury report. Oh, Christian McCaffrey, of course. Yeah, it's anybody's guess who the 49ers RB2 is. It could be Brian Robinson. It could be Isaac Guerrero. It could be a split. It could be a split between the two of them. Who knows? Unbelievable. Yeah, you can drop if you want to drop a kicker. You could drop. I mean, if you have a kicker locked in that you want to play this week, then fine. But yeah, if you want to find space. Whoever the last guy is on your bench, if Christian McCaffrey is not playing, then whoever the last guy is on your bench is not more valuable than Brian Robinson and Isaac Guerrero. So whatever you need to do to find a way to get either one of those guys on your roster, it's probably worth it. It's probably worth it. Okay, we are at the end of the chat, and we are just a few minutes from kickoff. So I think we are good to go for the evening. Unfortunately, we did not hit our goal. We did not hit our goal. For super contributions. So I guess I will be. I'll have my Friday night open tomorrow. However, I will be back this weekend for more Start, Sit, Help. Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel. Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, taking you up as close to kickoff as need be to get questions taken care of for your lineups. But I think that will do it for me tonight. It is good to be back. It is good to have football back. Thank you all for popping in tonight. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Very much appreciative. Special shout out to all of my members. Excited to do another season with all of you guys. Let's get some championships, and it starts tonight. Enjoy the game. I will see you guys on Saturday. Thanks, everybody.